guys, I'm Layla. We are in Raid Shadow Legends, and yo, I am not alone. I got my best bud Deadwood with me. What's up, Deadwood?
Hey, hey. Thanks
Hey,
for having me.
hey! What a time to be alive, because Raid threw a curveball and decided Masters of the Universe. Did you see this coming?
I did not see this coming.
No.
It's a heck of a I'm stoked. I'm stoked. This might bring my childhood back to me. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this.
I know, I love it. We get He-Man and we get Skeletor. So those of you guys watching, Deadwood and I are actually going to read both lore stories. They're going to be two separate videos, so make sure you stay tuned and follow those. Today's story is going to be all about He-Man, but before we get into the story for He-Man, what do you think about his look? And oh, there he did it! By the power of
Ah,
Grayskull.
Power of Grayskull. I love it. I think he looks amazing, you know? That I have to say, like, Raid always kills the art and the look, especially when it's like a iconic character like this
Yeah.
is, and I'm really stoked. I'll tell you the one thing I was really hoping for, that I'm pretty sure isn't in here, but I don't know about you, but I had my He-Man stuff when I was a kid, and they had that. I had the one with the what was it, like an action chest where when you hit it, it would have three different forms of damage on his chest, and so it would like rotate. I mean, I kind of hope I would hope that would happen here, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I don't think so. And I actually even threw out to Plarium about how I thought him being a mythic could have been so cool between like Prince Adam and He-Man. But the response I got back
Mm,
was because he's going to be a limited champion in the game. They didn't think it was fair to make a mythic that was going to be very limited and you might not be able to get from shards after. So I was like,
that makes
okay,
sense.
if that's the reason, it makes sense. But part of me is like, it feels like such a missed opportunity. Could you imagine that? Like when he does by the power of Grayskull, like that's the mythic Super Saiyan transformation right there. I mean, that would have been
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Heck yeah, I fully agree with that. But I
Yeah.
wonder also if they had enough. What would they have to do? They'd have to go Prince Adam and
Yeah.
He-Man, right? That would be the duel. I don't know if Prince Adam is gonna have that much impact in the game.
I
Uh,
know. I know.
but I'm excited, man. Like him just raising that sword and getting that lightning going down him.
Mhm.
Like it's gonna be a lot of fun to play with this guy.
I think so too. And so neither of us, those of you guys watching, neither of us have read the story. We know nothing about it. We don't know how Plarium has put T-Man into Teleria. So what we're going to do is we are going to read it together. So I hope you guys enjoy. The mightiest of the mighty, the strongest of the strong, the bravest of the brave, the most powerful man in the universe. This is He-Man, the ultimate paragon of righteousness, a legendary man beloved throughout Teleria.
He-Man is recounted in countless tales, always answers calls for help, always saves the day, and never seeks personal glory. He cares only for vanquishing evil and the safety of the downtrodden. No one knows his true identity. Prince Adam of Eternia, a young man who presents himself as naive and fearful in day-to-day life in the palace of Eternos, whose closest friend is a large yet cowardly cat known as Cringer. No one suspects such a boy could be He-Man.
How did this prince gain such fabulous secret powers? It is through the magical power sword, which can carve through mountains and deflect lightning bolts, granted to him by the sorceress of the fabled Castle Grayskull. By raising this weapon to the sky and roaring by the power of Grayskull, Prince Adam is given rippling muscles, flowing hair, and a thunderous voice. Similarly, Cringer becomes a battle cat, a ferocious tiger.
He-Man is so strong, he can push the moon itself away from Teleria, crack enormous fissures into the ground with a stomp of his foot, or a single punch, and join pieces of frayed rope by pushing them together. He's so fast, he can generate tornadoes by spinning on the spot, drill the Teleria's core by rapidly rotating stalactites, and reverse the whirlpool's rotation. Over the centuries, stories about He-Man have become increasingly far-fetched, with wars on distant planets where flying ships shoot fire at each other across the skies. The Sacred Order encourages these stories, its leaders having decided that children admiring a defeater of darkness will ultimately steer them to living dutiful lives dedicated to Lamaya. The Order has developed its own He-Man stories, including child-friendly versions with wholesome morals about obeying parents and praying every day.
During events such as Love's Ran and the Festival of Creation, children everywhere love to dress as He-Man, running around with power swords made of sticks and holding them aloft, declaring, "I have the power." So many have wanted cats like Cringer. There is now a breed of the same name, with the feline's large size, green-brown fur, and orange stripes. As a true testament to the character, few mice fear them.
He-Man toys are in enormous demand everywhere, something exploited by Diamant Coppercoin of Velizar, who has produced thousands made from wool, straw, or wood, including sets with weapons options and posable limbs. The fact that port authorities have discovered some filled with counterfeit currency, he says, is down to merchant captains who falsely presented themselves as honest. He claims to be absolutely horrified.
The fascination with He-Man's legend has encouraged many a scholar adventurer and deluded power seeker to find out if it is in some way true. No fewer than 7 sites have been identified for Castle Grayskull, each set of ruins matching elements of modern descriptions. More than one conference of persons interested in the fabled history of Eternia has descended into brawls as academics, treasure hunters, and He-Man history enthusiasts have argued not only over the castle's location, but its very existence, with some claiming it is merely metaphorical. He-Man would, of course, frown on such brawls, and would no doubt extol a moral about the values of cooperation to calm tensions. Okay, those of you guys watching, I'm sure you saw me giggle quite a bit because this story was fun. What do you think?
Oh, I loved it. I love the idea of I love that this is a child's toy from our world.
Yes.
And they make it a child's toy in this world.
It was so
I think that was
good.
such a fun little thing. Yeah.
I love it, and I love how they linked in. So Diamond Coppercoin is like this ogre, like mob leader kind of guy, right? So I love how they found a way to tie it in about, so here he is, and he's selling these counterfeit toys and smuggling things, and it's hilarious. I love, to your point, like what they said is that because he's so iconic in our world as a toy, they found a way to weave that into his lore story, and I find that so humorous. I love it.
I thought it was great. And yeah, the whole smuggling aspect was such a cool little diamond in that rough, so to speak, right? Like we're just like, I always love a good story where it brings the world to life a little bit, where you get to see this, so now not only do you see the children playing with the toys and something we can all identify with, but now we get to see like the darker side too, like how people will manipulate that, and very much like a lot of corporations we have in our world.
Yeah, and they made that, right? Like, they even said that it was like the Coppercoin Corporation there, which is Diamond's thing. You know what I mean? He's like the underground belly operator. He's like selling all kinds of things that are legal. Apparently, some He-Man figurines are legal as well, too. So I love what you said. Like, we're seeing like that darker underbelly of that.
Yeah, yeah. I have to say, I really love the conference of persons interested in the fabled history of Eternia, like the shortest conference name ever, of course. I just thought it was very funny, like that they threw that in there.
I love how they kept some like humor, they kept lightheartedness. I feel like in many ways they really did pay homage, I think, to the character, to Masters Universe, and just like this character that we love. I really think they did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. One thing too, I actually really kind of like that they left open a little bit his history in Teleria, because like they didn't really go into too much of like what he actually has done in Teleria.
Right.
And I think that was kind of interesting. It's like, okay, we're kind of importing this former, hero in here. What has he done? We'll find out. We'll find out in the next season of the Raid animation series, I have a feeling.
Oh, that would be fun, huh? And you're right, because they did put him in Sacred Order. So to your point, like, how did this happen? Like, how does he end up in Sacred Order? And to your point, like, what has he done? What have we seen so far in Teleria? I'd love to see that as well, too.
I would too.
For those of you guys watching us, we will have a part 2 because, we can't have He-Man without Skeletor. So we will also be doing the lore story for Skeletor, and we would love to know what you guys think for He-Man. Are you guys excited we have He-Man in the game? Do you love the lore story as much as we do? Make sure you drop some comments down below, and I will have some links for Deadwood as well. Make sure you guys go check him out, go subscribe, do all the stuff from my buddy Deadwood. And guys, we will see you in the Skeletor video, so make sure you stay tuned for part 2, because I'm hoping it's going to be just as humorous, because Skeletor had, like, how can they not, right? They have to add some humor to that.
Skeletor has to be more humorous. It's Skeletor.
I know we have to. And same thing, those of you guys watching, Deadwood and I have not read the story. We know nothing about it. We purposely wanted like live reacts. So if you see us giggling kind of like we were during the He-Man, trust me, that is all live because we don't know what the story is going to be. So with that, guys, we will see you in the next video. Deadwood, thank you so much for hanging. And guys, make sure you watch the next one, okay?
Bye.
Bye.